Hey everybody, it's Michael from Wahoo Comics here with another haul and speculation video. And as usual, I've got a bunch of books I'm looking forward to showing you. Starting off with this one, Conan the Barbarian number 23 in the CGC 8.0. And this book is special because it contains the first appearance of Red Sonja. Now, I'll put an asterisk on that because this is one of those books where there's controversy and disagreement over what's really her first appearance. Some people say this one, and some people say, no, this is just a cameo, and her first appearance isn't until number 24. Well, to me, this is clearly her first appearance. She's in 20 panels, she's called Red Sonja, and she's a real part of the story in the book. So it's in a totally different category to me than, let's say, an Incredible Hulk 180, where Wolverine is just on the last panel and doesn't have any part in the story. I understand the controversy with that issue, but for this one, I don't even understand it. It's got to be this one, right? This is number one. And the market seems to agree with me. This one is usually going to be the one out of the two that costs the most. And so I'm really happy to have it. I would love to have number 24 at some point also. I still think it's a great book to have. It's Red Sonja's first cover appearance and what I think is her second appearance. It's still a great book, but this is the top book for me. And I think it's a really good book to be investing in right now. Netflix has announced that they are going to be making a Red Sonja movie, and so I expect Red Sonja Keys to just continue to climb in price over the coming months and couple of years. I don't know when the movie's coming out. I think maybe sometime next year. And this should climb at least until then. And I'm really excited to have it because I actually almost bought a raw copy about 5 months ago when I bought the Journey into Mystery 85. And the seller had a raw copy of this also for sale, but he had had it for months and it wasn't moving. And so I thought I had time to come back to it. And I obviously spent a decent amount of money on the Journey into Mystery 85, so I was like, well, I need to exercise some self-control. I'll wait a couple months and come back to it. Well, almost right after I put in my order, Netflix makes this announcement that there's a Red Sonja movie coming out. And so someone else found his listing and bought it, and I was really bummed out. And the book was climbing in value, and I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to find an affordable copy. Thankfully, I did find this one, what I think is a good competitive price, and at a price that I think is lower than what this book certainly will be a year from now. So really happy to have it. And a couple of other more minor Red Sonja Keys that I've picked up over the past few weeks. There's this one, Marvel Feature 1 Presents Red Sonja. And so this is actually the first title that she headlines, and it predates Red Sonja number 1. It's really interesting. There's 7 issues of this series, and they're all Marvel Feature Presents Red Sonja. So it's basically her series, but it's not considered her first solo series. Instead, she's kind of, I guess, guest starring in the Marvel Feature series, even though it's all about her. It's kind of funny, of course, how some of these things are decided. And so I would love to have an actual Red Sonja number 1, but I think this is also a great book to pick up. I've picked up several copies over the past few months. And again, a book that I think will climb in value and certainly much cheaper than the Conan 23. And one other Red Sonja key I got was this one, Marvel Team Up number 79, featuring Spider-Man and Red Sonja. And so this is a book that I've picked up several times over the past few months. Usually I can get it for like $2 or $3. And usually it's a book you can flip on eBay for like $15. And so I'll come back to another book like this soon. But there are a lot of books that you learn over time just to keep your eye out for. I can pick it up for $2 over and over and over, and then flip it for like a $10 profit on eBay. And if you already have in your mind, you're just flipping through like an LCS or something like that. You see it, you just pick it out, buy it. It doesn't take a lot of time. And then $10 here, $10 there that you make, that's what helps me to be able to afford the bigger issues like the Conan 23 that I hope to hold on to for a long, long time, hopefully till I die. But this is a really interesting story. So Spider-Man and his girlfriend, Mary Jane, are visiting the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, and then she touches, the bad guy appears and she grabs this sword artifact, and it apparently was like Red Sonja's sword, and so she transforms into Red Sonja and fights off the bad guy, and then as soon as he's gone, then she transforms back into Mary Jane. But it's an interesting story. You know, it's the only way. Back then they had to figure out, well, Red Sonja's lived centuries earlier before Spider-Man. What do we do to pair them together? How can we get them together? And so there's this weird kind of body possession storyline that happens in this story. All right, those are all the Red Sonja Keys I've picked up recently, but some other good books. And all these I've picked up, you know, between $2 to $5, and I think they're good to buy at that price. There's Marvel Team Up, number 68, while we're still talking about Marvel Team Up. This contains the first appearance of Despair, who is one of the Fear Lords. And something I've been talking about is how Marvel is developing different corners of their cinematic universe. And one of the corners they're developing is the horror corner. And so there are some people who think that maybe the Fear Lords will be introduced at some point. And so Despair is one of those. This is another book you can probably pick up for $2, and many times that will go for 15 to 20 on eBay. This is my first copy, so I plan to hold on to this until hopefully one day I encounter a second one for what I got this for. But I'm happy to have it. Another book that I've picked up for $2 several times this year, and is Defenders number 94. This contains the first appearance of a character called Gargoyle. It's another easy flip on eBay. This copy actually just sold today, so I've got to wrap it up tonight. I bought it for $2 from my LCS, sold it for $12 really quickly, and again, just $10 here, $10 there. All right, I also got Fantasy Masterpieces number 3, which is a reprint of Silver Surfer number 3, which contains the first appearance of Mephisto. Something else I've been talking about is how reprints of big books have started to gain value because people love this cover of Mephisto and his first appearance, but they don't want to pay hundreds of dollars for it. So then they turn to the reprints, and that's increasingly happening. And so books like this are gaining in value. If you can get it for just a couple of bucks, it's something that's probably good to pick up. I also got Thor Annual number 10, another corner of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that is being developed is kind of the god mythology corner. And so this contains the first appearance of Demogorge, the God Eater, the first appearance of Apollo, and the origin of Gaia. So anytime you can get first appearances of some of the major characters in mythology or pantheons of the Norse pantheon, or I guess Apollo is the Greek and Roman pantheon, I think they're good things to pick up. It's going to be interesting. Of course, Gore, the God Butcher, is the main villain of Thor 4 coming up. Will they introduce these other kind of anti-God characters like the God Eater here? I also picked up Hawkeye number 11, and this is from the Matt Fraction series, which is going to be a heavy inspiration for the upcoming Hawkeye series on Disney+. And this book contains a solo story told from the point of view of Lucky the pizza dog. And that dog is confirmed to be in that series. And my guess is that he's going to be really popular. And so keys associated with him are good ones to pick up. I think Marvel is going to start introducing more and more animal characters. This is just my feeling. If you saw the Loki series, you saw like a crocodile Loki, and Throg had a very short cameo there. If you blinked, you missed it. But I don't know if Marvel's going to go as far as making like a pet Avengers TV show or movie. They have a comic pet Avengers. But I do think they'll put these pets that are important into their shows here and there. And I think they're going to be big hits. Crocodile Loki was a big hit. I think Lucky the Pizza Dog will be a big hit. And so this is one of the comics that are most associated with him. And so I think it's good to pick up. And I haven't read it, but I'm looking forward to reading it because this issue also won the 2014 Eisner for Best Single Issue. So it's going to be a good story, and it's going to be really interesting to read to see, well, what's so good about this story being told from this pet's point of view. All right, one more I've got, and that's my sleeper of the week. It's this one, Contest of Champions #1. And this contains the first appearance of Guillotine, but more importantly, it contains the first appearance of a character called the White Fox, who has become a part of the new Agents of Atlas and is a big figure in the South Korean intelligence agency of their nation. And Kevin Feige has hinted fairly strongly, that might be a little strong to even say, but he's hinted that the new Agents of Atlas are going to come to the MCU at some point. They've already started to lay some building blocks with Jimmy Woo being there. Of course, just this weekend, Shang-Chi movie is out. Haven't seen it yet. If you've seen it already, tell me what you think of it. But I hope to see that soon. This contains the White Fox's first appearance, who's a part of that team that I think is going to be introduced, and so I think picking up keys associated with that team are good. Of course, the new Agents of Atlas #1, which is part of the War of the Realms series, is the #1 issue to be chasing after for that team. But I think this might be a good second tier issue, and so I got this for a few bucks. And again, Marvel's developing all these corners. I think they're going to be developing more of their international characters. Of course, that makes sense from a business perspective to develop their audience. And I think the Korean heroes might be the first ones that really get developed. All right, so that brings us to the end of the haul. I'll leave you with a question of the week. Of course, we talked about Lucky the Pizza Dog. And so I'm curious, what is your favorite animal character from comics? Is it Lucky? Is it Crypto? Is it Lockjaw? Who is it? For me, it's Throg, who is the Thor frog. And I actually hadn't read much of him until recently. He was in the Donny Cates run on Thor, and I thought he was just an outstanding character, this noble frog who was able to yield Frognir. And if you know his story, he was once a human that was transformed into a frog, but it was really cool to see this noble frog, and I just loved it. And so he's become my favorite animal character. But who is yours? Tell me in the comments. So that's going to wrap us up. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you do. It'd be a big help to me and the channel. Like, comment, either on the animal character you like, or just tell me what you've picked up lately, or books that I should be keeping my eye out on. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I enjoyed making it, and I appreciate all of you, and I look forward to the next one.